Good morning and good afternoon and good evening again from me, MP Strydom, co-host of the Mind Warp podcast. Welcome to the podcast. Mind Warp is the podcast where we talk about everything new and exciting in the digital and mining and natural resources industries. With me, as always, or mostly, is my co-host Jan Roux.
Yeah, sometimes these days, MP, good morning and good afternoon to the audience. And we are so grateful, MP, that people are still visiting this and still increasing and giving us some of their time. Time is the most precious commodity that people have. And I'm also grateful to you that you've stuck with me through the times when we were shaping this. And maybe there are still some further shaping to be done. Yeah, and congratulations, MP.
Absolutely, and back at you as well. The reason why we are so self-congratulatory, if that's the right word, is is because we have, as many of you may know, we've recently celebrated our 50th episode, and it takes me back to one of our guests who has a very successful podcast of his own, Tom Raftery, who is an innovation evangelist with and futurist with SAP. And he used an interesting phrase. He said, many podcasts start and then they suffer from what he called pod fade sometime into the process. And I think we experienced a little bit of that every now and again, or maybe pod fatigue here or there, but we did manage to pull through those initial slow phases. And I'm happy to say that we're just seeing blue skies ahead and an excellent take up of the podcast and more listeners or plays, as it's called. And we're very excited and happy about that.
Yeah, 3 years ago, we were just kids with a crazy dream, MP. and now we are teenagers, we've survived 50 mark and still carrying on. And we're hoping that we can serve our community further with the things that we do and talk about. And that's what we want to talk about today, what we have achieved the last year.
Yes, today we will be doing a bit of a review of the past year specifically, and maybe a bit wider than that, looking at some of the very interesting topics that we've had the privilege of discussing on the podcast, as well as some of the interesting guests that we've had on. And we want to just bring you all in and share our excitement and our joy with you as well. So, John, why don't you maybe fall in and just remind us all again? This Mind Warp podcast, why did we decide to do this? Do you still remember what our whole purpose was behind this?
MP, all industries are busy changing. Some have rapidly changed. Some are easily identifiable. I think some of the younger people can't remember how it was before Uber and don't understand. So us people in the industry knows what's sitting behind or potentially sitting behind an Uber platform. So consumers can easily identify with how things can be better. But can they do it? And can we as business people, and specifically us in the mining and construction industry, can we imagine how it can be better? And when we built the platform, just like Uber, if I take that example now, we were really struggling to get people to understand in mining where it's dark, if you're underground, it's hot and it's complex, highly complex to get the logistics in place, keep the safety, etc. To explain what the impact of a platform is. But then we said, let's not try and do it ourselves. There are so many people that we constantly meet up with that sort of agrees with us in 5 minutes. Yeah, it's going to be better. We're going to Uberize mining. And if you have this, that, and the following that each of our guests have, it will be better and the future is going to look different. So then we said, why do we not bring in those specialists to talk about their stuff? And I think, MP, it's also a good time to remind ourselves that Mind Warp is not Mind RP. As I jokingly say, we do this without salary. Mind RP is paying us for it, but we are not a spokes channel for Mind RP, but for how the industry is busy changing. So, MP, Mind Warp, we want to warp people's minds with a D, but we also want to put your mind into warp speed after you've listened to all of these ideas of these opinion makers and people in the industry.
Everyone knows the story of the frog in the pot, and if you put a frog in a pot full of boiling water, they obviously don't like it very much. The frog will jump out. But if you gradually increase the temperature in the pot, starting with cold water, then before the frog knows it, it's boiled. And I think something that we set out to achieve also with this was to just kind of raise the general awareness of the value that the digital solutions and digital transformation can bring to the natural resources industry. And we're going to do this not by advertising this product or that product or anything like that, but rather by putting thought leaders from the industry in front of our listeners and in front of ourselves. So we learn as much as the rest do. You know, when you're watering your garden with a hose pipe, both the garden and the hose pipe gets wet. And we are the hose pipe in this instance. So we learn as much as everyone else does. So it's a great pleasure for us to do this as well, and a privilege for us to participate in this journey.
Most definitely so.
Because we're excited about it, we're going to share some interesting statistics for you all about the Mining War podcast. As we said earlier, it took sticking with it initially when there wasn't a great take up and when we still didn't know what to do or how to do things. We've been going for just short of 3 years now. And initially we had, what was it, John, about one episode a month maybe. And then that started to increase to 2 a month. And now we are fairly proud of it that the podcast is now going out weekly together with our podcast producer, Jan Liebenberg, and we'll have her on in a bit. Over the past 3 years, we've had about just short of 10,000 plays of the episode. And the nice thing about that is that the past year saw more than 50% of that. And so we can see a logarithmic curve there, a great growth over the past year. And I think I'll put that down. Maybe not only, John, you and I maybe have started to improve the formula a little bit. Also to the fact that we've managed to get on some really interesting people and people with real opinions and valuable opinions. So maybe you can expand a little bit before I add in some more stats about how we do that and who qualifies to be a guest on Mining War.
MP, when we were still Minopi, not owned by Epiroc and living on airplanes and flying across the world, we met with very interesting people. And very quickly, after explaining to them our vision, they would reflect and tell us about their vision. So we bumped into lots of interesting people with opinions about what the future looks like. And the first podcast was from Adrian Davidson from Deloitte. Very interesting views about what the future looked like. And as our journey extended and met more and more people, we are now tapping back into 3 or 4 years of travels and peoples that we have met. So who do we put on here? People with strong opinions. People that's opinions might not be mainstream. I think about your guests of SAP, Tom Raftery, with his podcast on climate change. I mean, 3 years ago when we spoke climate change, you felt ostracized. And he's been doing that for some time and been having a very strong voice on it. And we'll go through some of the examples now. I'm taking, for instance, Rikus Grimbeek with CEO of Trevali with strong views about how mining must be different. And he's busy implementing that. So those are the people that we want. Where do we get them? Well, we bump into them all the time. But MP, we are hoping also that our listeners will tell us who we need to interview on this podcast.
Absolutely. I think it's a benefit for us that we out of the course of our business, we meet very interesting people. But we also make it our business to share and share alike. I think we expect listeners to support us. Then it is our responsibility as hosts to make sure that we find people who are really interested.
And I think that point that you talk about share and share alike is something that some people have commented to us and that's listening to the podcast. And they are saying that innovation and the speed of innovation that we require for this industry can only happen if there's a shared consciousness growing. And will only happen through people that are sharing freely and not trying to sort of clamp down on stuff.
Yeah, we've often talked about the difference between an ecosystem and an ecosystem. And we've talked about combination or the collaboration of different opinions and different companies in order to add value for any given mining company. And that's why we look at people who we find interesting, but not only interesting, well informed, and people who are experienced in doing the things that they proclaim that they can do.
And Epi, it's interesting that many of our speakers and our guests would talk about some mining change agent thing like technology or etc. But most of them spend a lot of their time talking about the people, taking the people along, taking society along, taking governments along. Andy Reynolds, for instance, had very strong views of taking governments with us because they're listening to investors, and investors, don't have all the input yet about how things are busy changing.
Absolutely. Looking at Andrew Lane there, talking about the future of work as an example, and removing the fears, removing the obstacles to change is absolutely not a technology job or a job for technologists. It is a job for industrial psychologists and people who understand the mind of business, if there is such a thing.
Yeah.
Interesting for us as to South Africans and to add insult to injury, or however you want to position that, to Afrikaans-speaking blokes. In South Africa, there's always this chip on the shoulder almost that, we don't speak English too well. Even though we're an ex-English colony, we're also an ex-Dutch colony and a recipient of many French immigrants like Jean. My family is from the Netherlands many hundreds of years ago, and so on. But it was therefore quite surprising for us as we started looking at where people listen to Minor P from. And in the past year, lo and behold, the vast majority of our listeners are in the United States, and as in by a country mile. And thereafter comes South Africa and Canada, Australia. Sweden has started to also appear on our list. I think that makes perfect sense given the recent or fairly recent acquisition of Minor P by Epiroc.
Welcome to our Epiroc listeners.
Yes, absolutely. Then the Russian Federation, go and figure that one out. That was a surprise. I spent close on 3 months of my life in Russia about 2-3 years ago, starting up together with Bruce Macbeth some interest in that region and seeing if people there have the same problems. And interestingly, mines have the same problems all over the world.
And MP, how surprised were we to understand their strategies for the future? Absolutely out there with the best thinkers that we have bumped into in the world about how life will look like in future, how an integrated life look like, what the platform should be able to do, etc.
Absolutely. The UK is next, then Germany, Ireland, Bulgaria, India, Spain, and Israel, and so on.
So I'm wondering if it's Tom Rafferty that because he's living in Spain, right? Let's listen to 17 podcasts, MP.
That may be. So, guys, thanks to everyone around the world for supporting us. It's been great. If I look at some of the most interesting topics, statistically speaking, then the highest listeners that we've had was to the 2 podcasts that we had about all things AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning. And that's a big topic in mining, isn't it, John?
Everybody, I think, has got that Uber factor in the back of their head to say, when is my mind going to be Uberized,
Yeah. The next highest performer for us was what happens when innovation meets integration. And in there, we talked a lot about the meeting between digital technologies or digital innovation, such as what Minor P brings to the table and many of our peers in the industry, and then what the equipment manufacturers, such as what Epiroc is, and Sandvik and Caterpillar and Komatsu and all of the others around there, how the meeting of these 2 worlds actually became a catalyst to digital transformation in the mining industry.
That's also podcast number 43. And that was Mikael Ramstrom and Pieter Nel, our CEO, and Mikael, the head of the Epiroc technology division. Very interestingly, something that I didn't know that came out on that podcast is that he spent his first, 15 years in the space industry. I also didn't know that the town that they live in Sweden is where all the space engineers live, making things to go out to space and live there for 30 years. Can you imagine being an engineer 20, 30 years ago and sort of building stuff that'll go up there? You can't touch them. You can never bring them back, with the electronics state of those days.
Yeah, absolutely. So watch this space for asteroid mining. That'll be interesting. Interestingly, my first trip to Russia was as a guest of SAP, speaking at the conference there about the lessons we can learn from terrestrial mining as we look into the future with asteroid mining or extraterrestrial mining as well. And then some of the podcasts that were also very, very popular. Two of them I want to mention. The one was in the past year. The other one was just a little bit longer than that ago. And one you've mentioned already, Rikus Grimbeek, who is the CEO of Trevali. That was a very popular podcast. And it's clear that our listeners like listening to real miners speak to the challenges and the solutions that they found. The other one that was equally popular was when we spoke with the ex-general manager of Mponeng mine, the deepest mine in the world, Francois Nadia, and about his pre-digitalization integration solutions and now post-digitalization solutions. So very interesting how people like listening to real miners and not only a bunch of techies.
And the one with Rikus, MP, you would recall that we asked him, tell us the 3 things that you think should be different in mining. And then he gave 4 things, okay? And that's podcast number 49. And I saw that he posted the end of last week. He said, I was recently asked on a podcast about the 3 things, and I gave them 4 things. And the second one that he gave, the first one, by the way, was safety needs to be planned in the huge amount of detail. We need to be able to secure now people's futures, specifically underground where they're mining. But the second one he said is 10 years ago in a coaching session that he had with somebody that was busy prepping him for new position, said, how will you run your business differently if you get energy for free? What will you do differently? And I see there was quite a lot and a big discussion about that because he asked people what do they think, and some people just didn't agree with that. But I think we're still on track for that.
Absolutely. The next one that I think bears mentioning has a bit of a misleading name in our list here. It's podcast number 41, Changing Mine Designs for the 21st Century. I think it must have, or it should have just been Changing Mines for the 21st Century. That was with Andy Reynolds from Spire Resources. And we talked there about the responsibility of mines to check the impact that they have on the environment and on communities. Just basically how mines and countries and companies and individuals should be thinking differently about the way that we mine in order to make this inherently unsustainable business or unsustainable resource base, at least a sustainable business going forward.
Andy is such an inspiring guy. Please listen to that podcast 41. He's not only saying it, he's living it, MP. And he's
absolutely
truly and deeply convinced about how it needs to be changed and how urgent it is. And every time we talk to him, he reminds us of that. And when you see him posting on LinkedIn, you can see the urgency in him trying to get society to take the next step, to transform to for the sake of the people living around the mine and the communities, as well as nature, what we are doing to nature around it. Mm-hmm. I love speaking to Andy. We must get him on again and ask him, has any of his dreams come true already?
During the past year, we also talked to a lot of ecosystem partners or participants in the ecosystem in a variety of shapes and sizes. Companies who have worked with MineRP, companies who implement MineRP solutions, companies who make mines consume information in a way that is useful and valuable to that company. And these companies included big names such as DRA. We had 2 executives from DRA on recently, Tertius van Niekerk and Val Coetzee, and we talked about innovation, not only digital innovation, but what's new in the way that mines mine. The move from diesel to electric and a variety of interesting topics there. We talked with quite a few people about the integration or the digitization of the supply chain, didn't we, John?
I didn't join you for that one with Tom Raftery, but I did join you for Inderson Naidu, and also not for Tertius and Val. Oh, how handsomely surprised I was when I listened to that one from DRA. I didn't know that they had 1,000 engineers sitting well, through the company, and that they're stretching from Chile all the way into, what is it, Russia. A great company to talk to, a great vision that they have, great growth. And again, like you said to them, congratulations on what they've achieved.
Absolutely. Enterprise asset management on a dime with Yanni Potgieter from Collaborate was an interesting one. And between Yanni Potgieter from Collaborate and Tom Raftery and then Inderson Naidu, they were three guests that all talked to us about different perspectives on supply chain integration, how to create an organization that can do things just in time and not just buy just in case, as an example. But one of the I think quotes that stood out for me came from Inderson Naidu, and he talked about human-centric supply chains.
Yes.
And yeah, he focused on the way that we should be thinking about the suppliers in the supply chain and the way that different groups inside of companies, but inside of the bigger supply chain and logistical organism interact with each other. That was a fascinating episode as well, and I'd like to point our listeners back to that one as well.
And that was number 50, which was special because it was such a celebration for us.
That's right. That was number 50 as well.
And the one with Yanni Potgieter, Collaborate, a real deep understanding of how long-term, medium-term planning should include, all the logistics and the asset management parts planning components, and how unintegrated or non-integrated all of mines are worldwide from that perspective. And essentially, we are sitting with all the signals for demand. We are sitting with it. We've got it. It's just because it's complex data that nobody has tried to bring it together yet. So he's a specialist in that area, podcast number 46.
So John, there are many others that we could still bring in and probably should be bringing in. And I want to apologize up front to some of our guests. If we haven't talked about them, I'm thinking of Jacques Erasmus, for example, ex-CFO from Sibanye. Fascinating episode number 44 about ESG becoming the number one imperative in mining. And Paul Lucy, from Project 412, talking about innovation, specifically in the what happens down under.
and now getting involved with hydrogen. I saw him posting about hydrogen as a source of energy, and now I see on LinkedIn he's getting involved with that.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. But I want to turn our attention to the year ahead. If we look at the past year, there are some things that were missing and some things that we'd like to add. I grouped them under three major headings. The things that I think we should be adding to the Mining Walk podcast. The one is diversity, the other one is depth, and the other one dollars. So diversity, depth, and dollars. A few topics I think that we want to add to the ball from a diversity perspective. More AI, more processing, more automation, and more people issues. Those are topics that our listeners are very interested in if we look at the way that our podcast is performing. So we're not only looking at those kinds of capabilities in the mining industry, are we? It's also much wider than that, and we want to extend to other industries.
Our space platform has been shaped into using the same technologies for the construction industry, and we very shortly will begin with our first project in that environment after showing that off to clients for the last, I think, 2 years. We were lucky that one of our current clients are trusting us enough to be able to get into that, and we will assist to build a plant. So we'll be bringing a partner on board as well. Let's keep that as a secret until we bring it on, MP.
But there are other industries like the automotive industry and shipping and the rail industry and the farming industry and so on that have absolute specialists from whom the mining industry can learn a lot. And, we've sat in many panel discussions, sometimes as part of the panel and sometimes facilitating it and sometimes just listening. And it's interesting that very often executives are asked, what other industries are you looking to learn about digital transformation, isn't it?
Yes.
So those are things that we want to bring on. And then more diversity in geography. We've been fortunate to speak with people from many countries over the past year, but it's something that I'm interested in is how are people doing things differently in different geographies? I'd love to learn more about how things are different in China or in Asia in general. And we haven't spoken to that many people from Europe. The USA is still, this is unexpected, it's still a dark country from our perspective, even though they represent the highest number of listeners. Maybe they like our accent, I don't know. But we also want more diversity in people.
All of those needs to be done. We need to head out to the rest of the world where our clients are and where our projects are. And also, as you say, absolutely learn from them. I do recall at Vedanta, when we first time met the CEO then, Deshni Naidu, she asked us that question pertinently when we went for a pitch with her. She says, who else are you busy learning from? You know, our work manager solution, which comes out of the traffic control industry that might not be users, you know, those are the sorts of, that's the sort of things that we are learning. But also, as we say, MindWarp is not about MindWarp, it's about us all learning together. So that's going to be interesting, NP.
The diversity in people is something that we realized almost in retrospect that we want to expand on. And that means we want more people from more roles. We do want more ladies to join us on the podcast and share their unique perspectives. We want more young people and more older people and maybe less people who are right at the top at the moment, but others who can tell us about how hard it is to get to the top or how rewarding it was to be at the top. And then we also want more diversity in opinion. So Jean said earlier, we like speaking to people who have unique opinions and maybe controversial opinions. Yeah. So environmental things and, you know, should coal be cleaned up or can coal be cleaned up? Or should we just get rid of it altogether? Should countries invest in nuclear energy? And is green energy completely feasible yet, or is it a pipe dream? And so on. You know, those would be great to have on, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and will we make 2030, you know, with all the legal binding commitments that all the countries have made? And, you know, what will happen to mining in the last 5 years before then? You know, those types of things.
Absolutely. Those economic strategies, we've been reaching out to a few industry contacts of ours who work in the world of project sponsorship and so on. And I'm looking forward to interviewing those executives as well to learn about what's changing in the way that shareholders look at good and bad investments and so on. Then we talked about depth. It's fairly easy to talk at a generalist level, but I'd love for us to jump into some specialist episodes with real advice from real experts. And then I did talk about the dollar part, investment specialists, what's in it, what's in or out of favor rather. Where's all the money gone? 2 years ago, I attended a conference in Toronto and they talked about capital scarcity and how everyone's investing in weed stocks. For crying out loud. John, as we end this off, we've got an announcement of sorts to make, and that is that we're looking into adding an additional string to the MindWarp podcast's bow, looking at digital leaders in the natural resources industry. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
And we have seen some of them on the podcast, but we have bumped into people calling themselves digital geologists and digital operators and digital contractors. I have a suspicion that we will also have to add the word ESG contractors. We're bumping into people like that. And we know it's early days. Let's tell the audience early next year about exactly which ones we are using. We will be picking a hashtag. So looking forward to that. And then we would also like to venture into video somewhere in the future, MP. And let's see if that can happen next year.
That's right. So as we're talking about technical things like that, I'd like to bring Janri Liebenberg on as well. For those of you who may not have heard her name, Janri is our producer, and she's been involved with the MindWarp podcast right from the start. And behind the scenes, she's the one removing all the ums and ahs and cutting out the dud sections that John and I have to repeat 70 times. Janri, welcome to the MindWarp podcast.
Hi, everyone.
It's great having you on. And maybe you can share in a minute or so, you know, some of the highlights and lowlights and learnings that you've also had or gained over the past few years.
Let me ask, are we umming and ahhing less or more?
Honestly, it depends on how well prepared you guys are on the day, but it's getting better. It's been a journey from learning new tools and editing software and understanding how to manage the sound. So I think if you listen to some of our first episodes, the audio wasn't that great. The difference between the intro song and the exit song, and maybe even the pitch would be a bit crazy, but we got better over time. We learned, we improved, and yeah, I think we're in a place where we can really be proud of the product we're producing. For me, it's great to be part of an industry such as mining that's usually a bit more unglamorous, if I can say that, and then to be in a place where we can get together and celebrate creativity and innovation and showcase what our industry really can do and the way we can solve problems in fascinating ways. For me, that I think is the biggest highlight, and it's really an honor to share that with the world.
MP, new hashtag that she's reminded me about now. Maybe we must take hashtag mining glam guru.
Something like that. And as we talk about digital twins on the Mining World podcast, you've heard us use that term a lot. Jan-Louis, you have gained a pair of biological twins, haven't you?
Yes, and I think digital twins are easier to manage than real ones.
Jan-Louis is just back from maternity leave, and to her and her husband, congratulations on your new arrivals, both of them. And we trust that they will bring you much, much joy.
Thank you, guys. So, as we're nearing the end, before you guys leave, I think it's just fitting for you guys to tell us what books you are reading and what's on your bedside table.
All right, so I am quite interested in quite a few subjects that have to do with philosophy of things and how things work and why things work. So I'm reading a book at the moment called A Discourse on Equality by Jean-Jacques Rousseau, which is a very old book, of course. It's a fascinating examination of the relationship between civilization and equality. So I find looking at these global movements very, very interesting. Another book that I'm reading at the same time is by a South African politician called Helen Zille. It's called Stay Woke, Go Broke. And it's her opinions of why things are going the way that they are going here in South Africa. But then I also just like a bit of fiction as well. So it's very common for me to be reading a spy novel or something like that. I like that a lot. I find it a good way to switch off and stop the mind thinking about all the other things. That's in addition to all the prepping that we have to do to be ready for our podcast guests, of course.
Jan-Louis, mine's going to be short. I don't read currently. I have a few books that are not done yet. And one of them is Donut Economy. When I admitted that on LinkedIn the other day, the person that asked me to read it, Evert, more than a year ago, was very shocked that I have not finished it yet. So I need to finish it. Otherwise, my friend Evert the writer would be posting about that on LinkedIn again. And so I heard that DRA Stasher said he's joining a reading club. That's probably what we need to do. I want to buy one of those new Gen 11 Kindles in the next month to be focused about reading. I think it's really important. But all my time currently are consumed on cinematography of all things, because I want to do a YouTube channel on health and on growth. We started with a very, very interesting topic to study into. Thank you for asking, Jan-Louis.
No, anytime, guys, anytime.
That's it for our episode. A year in review, actually 3 years review from my side. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for sticking with us, and we're looking forward to bringing you an improved quality as well as even more interesting guests and more interesting topics. We're going to be working hard to make this worth your while. Thanks a lot for sticking with us. You're going to have the last word, John.
Thank you so much. We are so privileged to have you. Let us know what you think and who else you want us to interview. Thank you so much.